It's like at its fever pitch right now. And it feels like my book was supposed to like wrap it up with this really nice tight little bow, and it didn't. So I'm going to read about meeting Anthony. Anthony was my best friend. And I've been trying since I was a kid to explain to people exactly what he was to me when I was growing up, because he wasn't quite my guru, wasn't quite my parent, wasn't quite my teacher. And I usually attempted to describe him by mumbling something that included the word mentor. But I mostly found myself satisfied with this run-on portrait. Anthony met me when I was 9 and taught me everything I know about love and compassion, and knows me better than anybody, and used to talk almost every single day, even if I'm touring in Japan. And he loved telling me the story of one of our first interactions after he moved in next door. It was a winter night after a big snowfall in our little suburban neighborhood, and he and his wife, Laura, were throwing a dinner party. And I ambled across my lawn and started pelting their window with snowballs. And I thought it was funny. And he sort of did too. He came to the door. "I want a snowball fight," I said. "I can't," he said. "But I'll get you back later." And he returned to the dinner party, back to the warmth and the fire and the wine of the adult world behind him. And then, according to the story, I returned about 20 minutes later and started pelting their giant picture window with snowballs a second time. And he came to the door again. "Amanda, what the hell?" "You said you'd get me later." I said, "I'm here to get gotten." "Amanda, it's been 20 minutes. We're having dinner." "I meant later, like tomorrow." I don't remember this happening, but I know the story by heart because he's told it so many times. And I also don't remember the first time I hugged him, but he tells that story too. I was 13, and our relationship had evolved from occasional next-door neighbor snowball enemies to full-on pals. And he claims we were standing in his driveway and something had happened that merited an actual hug. But we had never hugged. And I was, according to him, kind of interested in the idea, but not used to hugging. So he says, I leaned my body against his like a slowly falling pine tree, letting my head rest on his chest while the rest of my body kept a terrified distance. Anthony and Laura didn't have any children, and I was gradually spiritually adopted. Anthony was a professional therapist, which meant he was a good listener, and I desperately needed someone to listen. And once I'd unloaded all of my teenage angst on him, he knew the way to win my trust, which no one else seemed to know how to do. And he won my trust by never, ever telling me what to do. Instead, he told me stories. Stories about his life, stories about his first wife, stories about Zen masters, stories about his grandfather. Here's one of my favorites. A farmer is sitting on his porch in a chair, hanging out, and a friend walks up to the porch to say hello and hears an awful yelping, squealing sound coming from inside the house. "What's that terrifying sound?" asked the friend. "It's my dog," says the farmer. "He's sitting on a nail." "Well, why doesn't he just sit up and get off it?" asked the friend. And the farmer deliberates on this and replies, "Doesn't hurt enough yet." And Anthony would tell me this one whenever I was suffering from particularly bad bouts of self-destructiveness. And these were pre-cell phone days, and I used to call him from the dorm, from my squalid sublets, from my boyfriend's apartments, and collect from payphones all over Europe. The year I backpacked and studied abroad, and I would leave him messages that filled his answering machine and mail him typewritten letters that were too long to stuff into an envelope without bursting the seams. Why do I keep doing these things to myself? I'd ask him, moaning about my latest killer hangover, brush with death, lost wallet, or on again, off again, on again relationship with the latest drug-abusing, but really good-looking boyfriend. And I could hear him smiling through the phone. Oh, beauty. Doesn't hurt enough yet. So let's do one more Bible bit. Who wants to do one? You look good.